Hey everyone, Creepy here. So today I wanted to talk about a video recently released from McCullough. It has to do with Keir Starmer and approval ratings of British prime ministers. So I have this issue with the video, and I'm just going to play a clip from it so that you can decide for yourself if he's wrong.
But now it really does sort of seem like British politics has been trending towards reaching the most extreme hostile conclusion after only a very brief period of time in office. So you can see that both Theresa May and Boris Johnson, became quite unpopular quite quickly. Neither of them served kind of a full 4-year term before being forced out. Liz Truss, of course, didn't even get through a full year, barely even got through a full month before she was reaching record high numbers and had to leave. Rishi Sunak, served little more than a year, and he was, reaching record high disapproval numbers almost instantaneously. But the worst is when we look back at the first chart, Sir Keir Starmer is already at 13%, which makes him the least popular prime minister of the last 40 years, and he has only been in office for what, a couple of months? So it's either like he has been uniquely terrible, and Rishi Sunak has been uniquely terrible, and Liz Truss have been uniquely terrible. These are 3 prime ministers from 2 different political parties, all of whom have been greeted with just massive, massive public disapproval.
So he says that Keir Starmer has only been prime minister for a few months. This is just not true. He's been prime minister since July of 2024, well over a year ago. So it's not just a few months, it's well over a year since he became prime minister. And his whole point is how British people tend to like their prime ministers in shorter amounts of times, which I guess is true if you compare it to prime ministers that served for years. But then he goes on to say that Keir Starmer became unpopular in a matter of months because he said, he's been serving for a few months. So therefore, he's saying he became more hated in a short amount of time, but in reality, he's become more hated over a period of well over a year. You could see in his video, it says that the data from his lowest approval rating is from September 2025. That's not a few months after July of 2024. So I just want to point this out. I don't know if this proves anything. I didn't really have anything to cover, so I'm like, I could point this out for fun. Creeper out.
Socialism is when the government does stuff. And it's more socialism, the more stuff it does. And if it does a real lot of stuff, it's communism. Socialism is when the government does stuff. And it's more socialism, the more stuff it does. And if it does a real lot of stuff, it's communism.